Hi everyone, hope you're doing absolutely awesome. These are going to be my first impressions of the Kershaw Turismo. First of all, I paid for this myself and I'm not sponsored by anyone. I was drawn to the styling of the knife. I thought the swoopy curves were elegant. So let's quickly go over some of the basic specs. We have a blade length of 2.91 inches or 74 millimeters. We have a weight of 3.3 ounces or 94 grams. This is a relatively small knife. Let me do some size comparisons for you. First of all, here it is next to a standard Bic lighter. So yeah, it's a relatively small knife. Here it is next to a Kershaw Fraction. Again, a small knife. And here it is next to a Kershaw Length. Let me go over some of the positives as I see them. First of all, the quality seems quite good. The machining seems to be done well. The secondary bevel has been ground quite well. It's relatively even on both sides. So good job with the blade grind. The blade is centered. Pretty much perfectly centered. The handles are milled out on the inside. I'm not sure if you can see that at all, but they're milled out on both sides. So that's good to reduce a bit of weight, even though this has steel handles. And the pocket clip is of a relatively normal shape and relatively subdued branding on it, so that's quite good. To me, the ergonomics are just so-so. While the handle has a relatively neutral profile, it is relatively small. In this position, farther back from the blade, it feels awkward because I'm so far from the heel of the blade. Choked up in this position feels more natural. However, it's not very wide across here. I think it would feel a lot better if the handle was wider in this point here. And Kershaw could do that because while it would occlude this part of the fuller, this part of the fuller could still be used for opening the blade. Now let's go over some of the not so goods as I see them. First of all, I think you have to ask yourself, is D2 an appropriate steel for your environment? D2 is a semi-stainless steel, and in humid environments, it definitely corrodes. Personally, I have to keep my D2 blades coated with corrosion inhibitor to prevent corrosion. So that's a bit of a maintenance hassle. The next big issue that I see is the deployment mechanism, namely this very small flipper tab. So because the flipper tab is so small and it's also very close to the pivot point of the blade, it requires a lot of force from your index finger to deploy the blade. So holy moly, Batman, it takes a lot of force sometimes to open the blade. You really have to squeeze it hard, and it leaves a definite impression on your index finger. You would not want to flip this open too many times or your index finger is going to be in real pain. Fortunately, there are other ways to open it which are considerably easier. One way is with your thumb, just like you would flick a cigarette lighter. So you just go like that. So that's not too painful on your thumb. That's relatively easy. Another way is to use this fuller here and flick it out with your thumb like that. That's relatively easy. You can also pinch it out with both fingers. And you can also flick it out from the underside, Spidey flick style, so like that. And those are all relatively easy to do. I don't understand why Kershaw couldn't have dialed in the action like the Kershaw Fraction here. The Kershaw Fraction is not assisted opening like the Turismo. However, it's really snappy and it's really easy to deploy. So I really like the action here on the Fraction. Another thing is the acoustics, and by that I mean the thwack sound that the knife makes when deploying. So if you listen to it, it's kind of a dull thwack. It's not that inspiring at all. Again, let me bring in the Fraction. The Fraction is a higher pitched thwack. It sounds better. And this is the Link. The Link sounds great when it opens. Again, this guy kind of a very dull thwack. So that's not very inspiring. And now on to the final issue, the pocket clip. So at first glance, the pocket clip looks fine. However, take a look at the heads of the screws for the pocket clip. They are intruding way into the path that the fabric of your pocket would like to occupy. So unless you're wearing paper thin pants, the fabric of your pocket is not going to get past that first screw there. So that's just ridiculous in 2021. Come on, Kershaw, there's no excuse for that. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you could subscribe, like, and share, I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. I'd like to thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye now.